We're going to talk about tuning up a Windows 11 PC, whether it's brand new or whether you've had it. And a lot of these things are things that you may have tried doing, or you may not even know that they're possible to do. And one of the things about software like Windows 11 is that it does change over time. So today we're going to take a look at what I kind of narrowed down to 8 essential steps. And I'll be honest, even if you don't do these, your PC is probably going to work fine because out of the box, a lot of the standard settings in Windows 11, a lot of things the manufacturers give you work. But I had a friend who ordered a really, really inexpensive Windows 11 PC that only had 4 GB of RAM in it. And they were wondering why it was running so slow. So it took a lot of work to clean up. A friend of mine and I helped clean up. We were there for a trip and we did that for him. It kind of prompted me to say, people probably ought to take a look at Windows 11 and see what it's helpful to do. I'll mention a few optional steps that are possible that you can look at doing, and then I'll try my best to demonstrate all of them for you on my Windows 11 machine. So one of the number one things you can do to tune up a PC is to remove bloatware. And the goal of this is to free up space and improve system performance. Bloatware is software that's been installed by the manufacturer, and it's not essential to running Windows usually. It might be trial software, it might be games. I actually installed a game on my Windows 11 PC to show you how to uninstall it. And when you have a lot of software on your PC, it starts up a lot of times when you boot up your PC, and each piece of software uses resources and can slow down your PC. Now, if you have a fast enough PC with enough memory, you may not notice it, but it can eventually get in the way and slow down your PC. So that's one of the common things that PC technicians do. And if you order like a business PC and pay premium for it, only the software that you actually need to use is actually installed on it. So I'll show you how to remove applications and see what applications are installed. We'll take a look at that. If you don't want to uninstall an application, you can stop it from starting up. Sometimes a lot of things start up when you open up your PC, you install programs like that might start up when you boot up your PC. And the more that starts up when you boot up your PC, because what your PC does is it checks to make sure all the hardware is working okay, and then it loads the operating system, and then it starts to load up these startup programs into memory once you start up your PC, and they take up space, and it can slow down the amount of time it takes to boot up a PC and sometimes cause the system to slow down. So when they automatically start up, they are going to use up a certain amount of resources. And so we'll take a look at how to find what's starting up when you start up your PC, so you understand where that is. Important to check for Windows Update. When you have a copy of Windows software, Microsoft issues updates. It keeps it up to date for security and optimizing performance. Sometimes they introduce some advanced features, but they provide bug fixes. They give you performance improvements. They make sure security updates are done. And this is included with your purchase of Windows 11. And Microsoft usually supports operating systems for a minimum of 5 years, sometimes as many as 10. You want to make sure you install or verify antivirus protection. Protecting your PC from viruses and malware is really important. That's how hacking takes place. It's how your PC can get hijacked. It can get ransomware on it. And Microsoft actually includes security with Windows Security. But sometimes people want to install something additional, or they install McAfee because they like, or Norton or others that are out there. They're all good, but Windows Security has been very satisfactory for me, and it's built in. So if you don't install anything else, you are going to have antivirus protection. I'll show you how to verify that, okay? Setting up backups. The goal of backups is to prevent data loss in case something happens to your PC. And Microsoft has done an interesting little change in backups. They no longer have a backup function in Windows 11 built in to let you back up to a local hard drive. Their backup function is set up to back up to OneDrive in the cloud, and they don't have an automated function for backing up to a local drive. They've actually eliminated that. I checked with Windows 11 current information. So you can buy a backup hard drive from like Seagate and Western Digital and other people, and they'll install a backup software that lets you back up to a local hard drive. But Microsoft wants you to use OneDrive as your backup tool. And it really helps prevent any damage to your data because you can replace Windows, you can replace software applications, you can replace the hardware, but you can't replace your data, and your files and information are what's important to you. So that's number 5. Optimizing power and performance, more importantly for laptops than for desktops, but you can get more efficiency. The standard settings are pretty efficient for what you do, but I'll show you how to check them to make sure, but you can balance the mode you want. You can set your sleep time before your screensaver goes on, a few other things like that. It's just a matter of choosing it and balancing it for optimizing battery life, particularly for a laptop if you're traveling or have it with you, or for your desktop if you want to be a little more energy efficient. You can scan for malware and spyware, although your antivirus is going to do it. If you've never done a scan, it's a good idea to do a scan just once. It'll detect and remove potential threats. Usually there's an automatic scan, and even with antivirus software, a malware scan, which is built into your system with all the antivirus, just make sure nothing got in there just in case you had a gap or anything like that. And then it's helpful sometimes to look at giving yourself a system restore and recovery. Basically, this is a snapshot of all of the settings you have on your system so that if you install something and something starts working wrong, it's possible to restore your PC. It's kind of like a memory of what your PC was like, and it automatically sets up restore options. Very simple to do. And again, Windows 11 has gotten really efficient and good at doing a lot of things, so you may not need to do everything. If you forget to do everything, rest assured your PC is probably going to operate really, really well. It's just that helpful to know what's important to know about it. It's like getting the manual to an automobile and saying you should change your oil every 5,000 or 7,500 or 10,000 miles to keep your car running better over time. So this kind of creates a little safety net just in case your system it has a problem. You can roll it back in case you would say installed a printer or installed some options or installed an accessory. Particularly really good for people that like to plug things into their computers for accessories and devices, because sometimes third-party devices work and sometimes they might not work, although they're generally more reliable these days. So those are some of the essential tools that a PC repair technician would do to their own PC, and they would check them out if they were doing work on somebody else's PC. There are some optional steps. They really are more for enhancing the customizability. They're not really required for any system functionality. Personalization is one thing that's really helpful to optimize. Just making your screensaver, your desktop, wallpapers, themes, your taskbar experience, just make it easy for you to use and enhance. And then you can enable the clipboard history and how your snap layouts work. That helps make it a little more productivity efficient wise and manage that. That enhances your multitasking and gives you access to previously copied text so that you can make it easier to do that. And snap layouts make multiple windows easier if that's not. And not really too critical anymore, but it really does helpful. You can check and see if update drivers. And This is more important if you've got software that came from your manufacturer like HP or Dell or Lenovo. They will install their own software maintenance tools on PCs they sell, and they will typically update functions in the PC to keep them going and make them working properly, to make sure that they keep those updates working very efficiently as well. So we'll try our best to go through all of these on a Windows PC. Let me wake up my Windows system and get my notes here to follow along with the steps. And we'll try and see how this goes. And then we'll go back to anything you want to try. Now, one thing you should be aware is that I'm running Windows 11 that I installed directly from Microsoft. And I'm using it as a virtual machine, which means it's Windows 11. It operates like Windows 11. It works like Windows 11, but I'm actually running it on my Mac. There's software called Parallels that gives you the ability to do that. But when I am looking at Windows 11, it operates just like it does on any other PC that you would run it on. So let's take a look at some of the things we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at the settings function a lot. You can get to settings by typing in search, or if you click on the Windows icon here, you'll see a gear icon for settings. And we're going to go into settings in a lot of situations here. Okay, so we want to look at the first thing, settings and apps. On the left, you'll see columns here. And we want to look at apps. And lo and behold, at the top here is something called installed apps. So just open settings, look at apps, and then go to installed apps. And we'll see all of the installed apps that are installed on our system that from Microsoft, and it tells you what the app name is, how much memory it takes up, and who makes it. So Microsoft supplies a lot of apps like calculator, a camera, but I have some software for screen recording like Camtasia. There's my Candy Crush saga. There's Copilot, feedback. I generally don't recommend you uninstall anything from Microsoft because it's usually part, but I don't use, for example, Microsoft Teams. So it would be easy for me to just uninstall it. I wouldn't really miss anything. But Microsoft also installs some tools that make other software work, like this Visual C++. So if you're not sure about it, don't uninstall it, but you may see some things that you say, hey, wait a second, I really don't need this, and it's something I didn't want. You will see more applications on a consumer product PC that you bought. You'll see Candy Crush, you'll see antivirus software, you'll see trial versions of things. So if you want to uninstall this, you can click on these three dots, and it gives you the ability to click on uninstall, and it's going to uninstall. Wants to confirm it, you just click on uninstall, and it's going to uninstall that app. Okay, and it's gone now. It doesn't exist. If there was anything that was starting up when I booted up my computer, that's gone as well. So I have uninstalled the app. So that's how you can remove what's called bloatware. You will find if you have a Dell, HP, Lenovo, etc., consumer PC you bought at a retail store, it may have anywhere from 5 to 20 applications that were provided on it when you first went ahead and used it. Okay, so that's one tool that's available. Now, another one is startup, but I'm going to show you how you can find things by using this little search box. So if we just type starting up startup, we will see something called startup apps. So a startup app is an app that starts up every time you boot up your computer, which means it's running in the background. So you'll see things like Microsoft OneDrive and Microsoft Teams and mobile devices. I kept these pretty standard, so I haven't changed them, but I do use a tool called Grammarly for editing. And so I like to use that. I have it start up, and it'll tell you a couple of fine points here, like not the impact of what it is. So it says Microsoft 365 has no impact on startup time. Microsoft Defender has no impact. Microsoft OneDrive isn't even measured. So it'll tell you whether these applications have high impact or not. And there's a simple on and off switch. If you want it to start up, you are not uninstalling the application, you're just stopping it from loading up after your computer starts up. And so if you're unsure about an application and uninstalling one seems a little bit too much, you can always stop it from starting up by turning this to off. And you can find startup just by typing in startup in the search box in the taskbar. It's one of the easiest ways to do things. Now, you can also go again to the Windows icon, go to settings, and we want to find Windows Update. It happens to be conveniently located here at the bottom. And we can see that updates are available and we can download and install them now. But the setting is more important here. We want to make sure that we get the latest updates as soon as they're available because Microsoft is taking care of updating Windows. It's downloading updates. I can set them up to install whenever I want to. At last check today at 9:57 a.m. and it will install them. And usually it'll install them when your computer is idle. So that's how you check for updates. Just go to Windows Update, check to see if updates are available, and it'll make sure that this check is get the latest updates as soon as they're available. Now, some people that know more about Windows may say, I want to install the updates when I know they're available, because they say I may want to wait to see if a version of Windows is stable before I install an update. But I recommend for most consumers and most users, let Microsoft manage it for you. That'll take care of it. So that's that aspect of it. Now, we can take a look at Windows security. Again, you can use this search box and you can see I search for Windows security, but if you just type it in, and you have to spell it correctly, that helps too. And if you type in Windows security, it'll take you to a match here, Windows security, and you can scan now. It says quick scan do, and you can also check to make sure that your virus and threat protection is okay. And all of these will have a little green checkbox if they're something that is good. And if it has a little icon like a caution, it'll say scan now. I'm not going to scan now because I don't want to waste time during the class. I'll do that after. But on the left here, you can go to virus and threat protection, and you can see that there are no current threats. You can still do the scan from here. It says there's no action needing for your threat protection settings. It says your security intelligence is up to date. Now, what's really helpful is on the right-hand side, who's protecting me? And if you click on that, you can see that I am using Microsoft Defender antivirus, and it is protecting me. And that's the protection I use. So if you're using McAfee or others or any others that you're type of using or Norton, it'll be set up for that. Now, one thing you want to probably end up doing is you're going to want to end up enabling OneDrive. So if you go to settings here and you go to your accounts here, you will see that that's me, that's my account email, and I've got Microsoft storage here. I've got 1 terabyte, and that's because I'm using Microsoft OneDrive. I've got it set up. Okay, so this is my settings. Now, because I've got OneDrive set up, I can see OneDrive is backed up. It'll tell me that Microsoft Windows is set up to really back you up to OneDrive. When you set up OneDrive on your system, you'll see a little cloud icon up here, down here in the taskbar. And if you click on that, you'll get a OneDrive management tool, and you can click on the help and settings and go to settings, and you can see that there is a way to back up important PC folders to OneDrive. and you can manage your backup, and you can see what folders are backed up. It'll back up documents, pictures, your desktop, your music, and your videos, and it'll take care of that. If you're looking for a backup to a local drive, you will not find it in Windows Sync and Backup settings anymore. They say that the way you back up manually to a hard drive in Windows is you go to your File Explorer, you copy folders and files, and you paste them into an external hard drive. So if you don't want to back up to OneDrive, my recommendation is you look at getting a backup storage drive from somebody like Western Digital or Seagate. They're available at Staples and Costco and all kinds of places like that. So that's the thing about backup. Okay, so let's look at power and power settings, power, sleep, and battery settings. This is going to control when we are looking at it. So it says energy recommendations. I've got 100% charge. You can follow them if you want to and see what energy recommendations are available to keep your device, a little more energy efficient. If you ever want to go back in settings, just go back. But you can change your screen, sleep, and hibernate timeouts. Now, when you're plugged in, you can have one set of settings, and when you're on battery, you can have an entirely different set of settings. So generally on battery, since I use my Windows computer a lot, but I could set this up so I could have it shut off after 2 hours on battery, or I could shut my screen off after 15 minutes, or I could say, never if I want to have it for never, okay? And I can put my device to sleep. So your screensaver will start when you have turned my screen off, and your device will go to sleep and save power, so it'll conserve your battery. More important for people that are on laptops, or they take them and use them with them. But that's how you just manage your system, power, and battery. Okay, so that's where you can manage that. Now, we can go to Windows Security again, and I showed you the scan already, but if you ever wanted to do your scan, you'll see this virus and threat protection. It recommends, even though it's doing protection, built into Windows, it actually recommends doing a periodic scan every so often. So that's one thing that's function when you look at Windows and security, you can manage that pretty easily. And then you can create a restore point. So a restore monitor here, if you want to create a restore point, you can create a restore point by just typing in the word restore and create a restore point. What this does is it says, if you have a system and you install software on it and something doesn't work right after you install that new software, or you get an accessory and you plug it into your computer and you download a driver for it, and your system doesn't work something that works differently, you now will have a snapshot of your system before you made that change if you turn on system restore. So you select your hard drive and you go to configure, and it says turn on system protection, and you can give it a certain amount of space to use it, and you can click OK, and it's going to start making little restore points for you, and you can create one right away for that system, so that if you install something and you notice your computer doesn't quite work the way it did before, you can always go back and system restore by going to this and doing a system restore and create a restore and go to a restore point. So there's nothing I have right now, but as soon as I got restore points, it would let me do that. So those are some of the essential tools that are available that'll help you out. Now, optionally, you can personalize your system. And if you go to personalization on your system, you can see more options available. Sorry, I get the wrong place. Let's go to system and go to settings. and we can go to personalization. You can select a theme for Windows. You can change your background. You can make it a slideshow. You can adjust it for lighting, for particularly for people that have, vision issues or other things like that. You can change them. You can get dynamic lighting, so you can get special effects and certain settings and other things, or you can control background lighting if you want to. Or you can just change the theme and make it something a little more interesting. What your keyboard, how your taskbar looks, if you want to change the way your taskbar behaves. You can keep this search box in here, which will search everything, including the internet. You can change the task view. Task view gives you the ability to bring up multiple desktops without, so if you're working in a laptop, it's really, really convenient to be able to do that. So those are some things that personalization gives you just for fun, and other things that you may want to do. If you ever want to adjust your time, if you want to change how you're notified, and other, with apps and other tools as well. Now, the clipboard's kind of an interesting one. That's optional too. But if you look at clipboard history, let me see if I can get this typed in here. Clipboard settings. Okay, so clipboard is your memory. When you clip something, when you copy and paste things, you can uh, change it so that you view a history. And you can also, so when you hit the Windows key and V, you can actually see your clipboard history so that it keeps track of more than just the current thing you've clipped and copied into your clipboard, which is really convenient. Now, you can also sync clipboard history across devices. If you're using the Windows tool that lets you sync your Edge, browser to your device, or you have your Android phone to your device, it can sync with Windows as well. So you can save, copy and paste. Macs let you copy and paste. Apple lets you copy and paste from iPhone to iPad to Mac, etc. But with this setting, you get that functionality with Windows if you need to as well. So that's a great feature as well. And then if you want to look at device drivers, you can look at device drivers are the parts of your operating system that communicate with the hardware. And normally everything is handled by Windows, but sometimes there is a set of device drivers, particularly installed by your manufacturer, and you can see, you may not understand how to check for them for updates, but usually if your manufacturer has software, it would show up, and when you click on start, you would see the software listed in one of these softwares. Like I have Epson SmartScan and a few others here. You have the ability to update and scan device drivers from the manufacturer, but Windows will typically update device drivers for you. It's more something that a little more people that attach a lot of different things to their computers may want to check, and they may want to check, like if you have a camera or a scanner or a plotter or other things plugged into your computer, checking a device driver from the manufacturer, going to their website is another way to do it, to make sure if they have an updated one. But your manufacturer is probably going to update certain software for you on your computer, so that in addition to Windows, your manufacturer, HP, Dell, etc., will have an application that will update that software as well. Now, as I say, the standard settings for Windows have made Windows 11 very stable, very secure. Like I say, it comes built in with antivirus, comes built in with performance monitoring. So it's rare that you may ever have to even do any of these things. But if you want to, and you want to understand it better, now you know what a professional computer technician would do. And every technician has a little bit different steps, so that some may do these, they might do something different. Some do some things that are still old carryovers from Windows, old Windows versions like Windows XP, but Windows 11 has integrated a lot of tools in there to make it very user-friendly, manageable. these are just things that if you are curious, you can set up. And if you're wondering if you could speed up your computer, probably one of the best things you can do is to prevent applications from starting up or remove software that you don't need. Thank you all